Canada wins last night at TD Garden. Jordan Binnington looks like name your favorite best goalie ever. Once again,
2019 Jordan.
Yeah. It did look like 2019 Binnington, vintage Binnington, at the Garden last night. He just shows up in the biggest moments, and goaltending was certainly a factor in that game last night. And the United States loses in overtime with the goal being scored by the best player on planet Earth, who had not had a great game to that point. But if you give him an opportunity, you crack that door open just a little bit, he's probably going to make it count, and he did.
Was that the guy with the 3 names? Connor McDavid? M-I-C-K? Yeah, you leave him open on a slot, that thing's going in.
Yeah, do you think he scores that 100 times out of 100? Or
I think 100 out of 100.
Probably 100 blindfolded. I don't have a problem with him scoring. Like, the worst thing that comes out of this is Binnington. He got us once, now he gets us here in an international-type tournament. Like, that's the problem you walk away with. Now, I heard people complaining yesterday that, the whole McAvoy thing and everything that was coming down with that the league was going to be noticed and they're going to be talked to and say, hey, maybe take it down a little. There's more to play here. There's more to play for. You guys are going for Stanley Cups. And I thought maybe they would take it off the gas a little bit last night, and I didn't want that to happen. We got another great game last night. We did. Tight game. Tension. Place was amped up. Great scenery. No other league can do this. No other league can stop and do this in the middle of the year and then get back to go and try and win the Stanley Cup. I mean, there's a lot of tie-ins. USA, Canada. Now we don't like each other all of a sudden. So there's that drama. And I just think everybody played
you don't
hard.
like them. You've made it abundantly clear that you don't like them.
I'm trying to add to it, okay?
Yeah, you've made that clear.
And I tried to hear what was going on. Like, and like I told you for the Super Bowl, my bass system is so, I think, overmodulated that you couldn't really hear the words. I thought at the beginning I heard a smattering of boos.
You did.
But then I heard them singing it, the crowd. It went boo, and then they started singing.
I have a second
They wised up.
I have a second guess of Team USA, of Mike Sullivan, of Bill Guerin, and that is, how come none of you had the balls to tell Matthew Tkachuk that he shouldn't play last night?
Oh.
Where's that guy with Team USA to stand up to him and say, listen, your contributions have been great. You're a tone setter. You've been a leader. We love your attitude. We love that you want to go out there and play. But guess what? This is not a playoff game where if we sit you, we've got some guy coming up, the equivalent of someone coming up from Providence to fill the spot here. This is an all-star club. So if we sit you down and send you to the press box with Charlie McAvoy, we have options. We have 30-goal scorers sitting up on the 9th level that we can insert into the lineup. They dressed out Kreider. They barely played him. They had to bench him late in the game. They didn't have Tkachuk in the third period. He couldn't go. He's clearly hurt. So what was he playing at? 60%? 70%? What was he at? You don't have to treat this like an NHL playoff game where you say, well, my star player at 60 or 70% is better than the guy that I can bring in and slot into the lineup. No, you've got a team of all-stars. You've got guys sitting upstairs that are healthy that could give you 100% and guys that could contribute and wouldn't leave you shorthanded in the third period of this game.
Fresh legs.
But they wouldn't do it. Where are you guys? You got to tell him he can't play. He can't go. It was so obvious he wasn't up to playing in this game.
What was his last?
What a waste!
His last shift was 7 seconds, I think.
I thought it was 5.
Barely made it through the last game.
What a waste!
I mean, I don't even think it was at 70%, by the way, because I think at 70% he's playing.
I think I'm being generous.
Yes, definitely.
I'm being generous. Him at 70%. Should he have been in that game? Should he have been in the lineup last night?
Okay, so you're asking...
Or should they have been having, other guys that they've got sitting upstairs? They've got Thompson upstairs. They've got Connor upstairs. They're sitting there watching the game with popcorn with Charlie McAvoy last night while Matthew Tkachuk, with his hip or his groin or whatever the hell it is that he's dealing with, he can't play. So the United States left themselves shorthanded in a game that I think they cared a whole hell of a lot about. So where's the GM? Where's the coach?
See, I
after you already screwed up the whole McAvoy thing. It's an easy second guess.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Tkachuk because I saw the end of that last game when he didn't finish the game. and he did that turn and went backward, and you could just see him wince. And that's inner leg, and you're like, oh, man, he can't go. So with this happening, and with McAvoy's issue, is there going to be a point with the league where these leagues get together and say, we're going to have our representative doctors with our players on the road with these teams? Our doctors, the Bruins doctors, know Charlie McAvoy's body and how it reacts more than the Minnesota Wild guys do. You work with them on a daily basis. Your job is to keep him out there on the ice and help repair him. I would add that to it as we move forward here, or this could become a problem. Like, if McAvoy's out for a long time and things complicate, like, they're going to get really pissed. Bruins are already pissed. But that's something you might be able to tweak with this if this thing is going to be such a big thing. How many years it come around? 4? 2? How many times are we going to do this? And if you're going to have such pride in it, make it big. Make it important. Bring your doctors. The doctor should be the one to tell you should go or not. Not the coach. Hey, we need you here, buddy. That's what the coach would say. We need you, buddy. Doctor said, he can't stand. That could be a possibility moving forward.
Yeah, I doubt it is because that costs money and those doctors have day jobs. So I don't think that's going to happen.
1 week?
I just think it was pretty obvious that he couldn't play, that he shouldn't have been out there. And I don't blame the player for trying to do it. I mean, you want your player to try and gut it out and play through it. And I don't think anyone's doubting whether or not that guy is tough.
Not the question.
Right, but you can't leave the decision up to him.
You can't leave it up to the player.
Ever.
You can't do it. And so I think that was a mistake, having to change your lines on the fly in that game. If you're Mike Sullivan, you made the job more difficult for yourself. What? Because, he had some comment last night after the game about, all heart. Just so much heart. Well, yeah, no kidding. You think that was in doubt? You think you're breaking news there, Mike? No. In a game like that, where you've got a loaded roster and you've got great options that are healthy scratches, you should not go into a game with a guy who's that injured. This is not, you don't manage this and coach this the same way you do your roster in a regular playoff type of situation in the NHL. You just don't. These are the deepest rosters in the world that you're toying around with. And you're playing guys at, what are we going to put his percentage at? Less than 50%?
Yeah, it has to be.
25%?
I think
he looked like he couldn't move.
I think he's playing in the third period in overtime.
What's the point of that?
Don't go backwards.
I don't get it.
Yeah, he made that pirouette turn, went on his right leg, goes, out. Yeah.
But the tournament is now concluded. Will it make a return in a couple of years? We've got the Olympics next year, so I don't think it'll be back next year. But when will this return again?
2 years.
It was obviously successful. People were obviously into it. And when that happens and hockey has a chance to have eyeballs, new, fresh eyeballs, I think, in this event is what they sort of gained. Something that is so rare in the sport. Something tells me the league is going to keep going right back to this well. They're going to beat this thing into the ground. You just watch. It's time that we start respecting Jordan Binnington. He's just a big game player.
Let it ride.
We've shown so little respect for him over the years. We have lamented that the Bruins lost to that guy in the Stanley Cup final 5 years ago. That's Bruce Cassidy. He's happy to have Binnington on his team this time around. I just think we got to respect the guy.
He's like Boston's Eli Manning.
He's big game player. He's exactly right. He's Eli Manning.
That 2-minute stretch in overtime where you're just like, what? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Brutal.
Did you feel confident going overtime?
No, I don't know how you can.
No,
but it certainly didn't after that stretch that he went on.
USA was playing for overtime the last 9 minutes of the third period.
Yeah, I did not feel great about where it
Teams
was
that
going.
play for overtime will end up losing in overtime.
I thought Canada was going to win the thing in the final minute of regulation. I was like, oh, God, here it comes. Oh, no. And it didn't. But they pressured in that final minute. And so I just think Binnington, his reputation here has to change a little bit You have to give that guy respect.
He loves your building.
I mean, he sucked in the other game last Saturday. But in this one, when it counted, Game 7 type situation, win or go home, he won. And he performed. He came up big. Had some big saves in this game. Played well.
He did.
And I love that Sean McDonough referenced that. Sean McDonough is so great at this, isn't he? Oh, what a joy. He referenced it. He said there have been people kicking him in the shins in Canada for 3 weeks. People that have doubted. People who have questioned why he is this team's best option. And when it mattered most, he proved it. It's odd. I retroactively feel better about losing to Binnington. We're going to call him by his proper name from now on.
Oh, are we?
Binnington. Going back to 2019.
This makes it feel better.
It does make it feel better.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Last Saturday, we were saying, can you believe they lost to this guy at home in a Game 7? And then after last night, I'm like, you know what? This guy shows up when it matters most. Respect. Respect to Binnington.
Sure
Respect to him.
And not for nothing, but our goalie Hellebuck was pretty shaky in this one, I thought. And his team in the regular season, the Jets, they're a runaway 1 seed in the West. So I don't have very much confidence in them.
Well, it's now over. Where does it go from here? When does this come back? They're going to absolutely abuse this thing now. They're going to abuse the attention that it's received. They are not going to treat it as something that is special and rare. They are now going to throw this party as often as they can, the same way they did in this league with outdoor games. They have run that into the ground. They'll have an outdoor game anywhere. You'll have them now. You want to put an outdoor game in Florida? Sure. The desert? Let's try and figure it out. They'll have one anywhere.
Mm-hmm. The head scratcher to me, and I got this from multiple people on the inside in the building that go to games a lot, hockey games, real hockey games. They put this event on, and they had no clue how big it was going to get and how big it was going to be and how it was going to feel like a Game 7. Things were lax in the building. They had issues with some concessions. The food spread for the media was nothing. Like, you go to a Bruins game.
T's and P's.
I know the Bruins didn't do this. This is a league thing.
What the hell are we talking about?
No, this is a league thing. I got multiple people bitching. Holy crap, I can't believe he bitched last time. I went last night. He's right. We got some chips and dip. There you go. Yeah.
Mark Capello.
Yeah, pretty much. Not a big game feel inside the building.
The food
They need
spread
to-
for the
Wait, no, it
media.
definitely was a big
What
game.
the hell
feel.
are you
What are you
talking
talking
about?
about?
It wasn't a big game feel. The people who were in the building last night
No,
say
that
it was
was feel.
absolutely electric.
They said
That-
USA
I'm not
chants started
talking to
45
fans.
minutes before the
I'm
game.
not talking that. He said they dropped the ball in like signage, taking care of the press.
Signage?
I'm pretty
press
sure all
room-
the fans
the
found
press
their
room
way
was
into the
tiny.
building. I don't think there were very many empty
All right.
seats, so there was enough signage for people to find
Hey,
their way.
What
As
colors are the
long as-
USA?
This big, make it big. Look what the Super Bowl did.
As long as they have your guys' faces
Look
in the
what the
concourse,
NBA
that's
did.
what we
does.
care.
Which bench is that? Are those the Americans or the Canadians?
Shut
There's no
up. I don't know who I'm
signage.
rooting for here.
Yeah.
It's got red, white, and blue on it. No, but like, people bitch we can't get an all-star game for basketball because we don't have enough expo space. The Seaport Expo space isn't big enough for the other stuff that comes with it. If you're going to make this thing big, make it big.
It was big. I don't know what more you needed.
It's big with the teams. The teams are big.
I don't understand. This was better than having an all-star game.
Yes.
Yes,
This
no doubt.
was better. And last week we had a caller who said, and I don't know if this caller would adjust their take on it now, knowing how great the last week was, but they said, well, 4 nations coming to Boston. That means they're not getting an all-star game. And so maybe that's true, maybe it isn't. But if
I'd
it
rather
is
have this.
true, this was better. This was better than an all-star game. You don't get players playing in an all-star game the way they played in this.
I'd rather have this.
So I just think that this was better. And if you're about the game itself, this was better and not just all the pomp, I mean, this is the real deal. This is real competitive guys playing their asses off out there. over the last week here. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. Who the hell cares about an all-star game? Who cares about whatever it is you're putting in the seatboard at the convention center? This
media spread.
This was great, and a ton of Bruins season ticket holders got a chance to go see real meaningful, excellent. I mean, just how often do you get a chance to see the level of talent across the board on the two rosters that were out there last night? The speed of the game. It's a different freaking product.
It's probably the greatest collection of talent of any sport that's ever been in Boston.
We were comparing this to the rosters in the 95 All-Star game at the Garden.
96.
On 96. Holy crap. Were those teams loaded then, too. But this was great. Even with the USA losing, it was still great. And I'm sure there are no regrets from anyone who may have paid a hefty sum of money to overcome the difficulties of the lack of signage and get themselves to TD Garden
lack
last
of steak
night.
tips up in the media room.
Yes, I know. I'm sure that impacted a lot of people. But for those who made it there,
scoop my own popcorn,
who got a chance to be there, even if you did shell out a bunch of money hoping the USA would win, my guess is you didn't go home disappointed in what you got a chance to see. And so that's why the NHL is going to bring this thing back. They're going to run it into the ground. They're going to have a million of these. You wait. 2 more years, there's going to be another one. So the Olympics are next year, and then after that, you're going to have another one of these. And maybe it becomes every other year. But they will abuse this. And for a while, we'll be all in. And it will continue to attract new eyeballs to the sport and I really do believe that happened with this game last night.
Oh, it took over social media.
It did. In a way that hockey almost never does. And wow, this was really unexpected because I don't think any of us expected this to happen. And it did. And it happens so rarely in hockey that they can pick up new people that get excited about some event that they're having. That I honestly don't know that I'm going to totally blame them for abusing it the way they will. Now, for the hardcores, you're not going to be as into it 5 times into this.
No.
But they're going to do it. And ultimately, it's good for their sport and good for their product. Man, am I glad that thing ended, though, before we went into like 3 overtimes last night. At some point, you got to introduce that shootout, T-Bone. At some point, it's too much.
But I think the talent was so great that's what makes the, extended overtime so good about that is that you can roll the 4 lines because you got 4 lines of all-stars. Whereas you're not tightening up your benches in a regular playoff game.
But as much as, to go back to this point again, as much as it was such a great product, they knew it was a product, and they were putting out a story of the Tkachuks being these great American heroes, and that's why Matthew Tkachuk was in the freaking lineup last night.
Oh, yeah, Saturday
Nobody
night
had
played a
the
huge
balls
role,
to tell
no
him
doubt.
no. And they've got Dad on the pregame show telling Matthew Tkachuk, your job tonight is to take care of your little brother out there. Oh, come on, guys. Put the healthiest, best players on the ice. That's what they were going for. They were going for the picture of the 2 brothers.
Yeah.
They were playing that up.
Hold the
As
cup.
much a marketing ploy as anything else.
Is it a trophy or a cup?
Hey,
it's a cup, right?
Marketing play worked, man. I'm ready to trade the Bruins roster for Brady Tkachuk. He's awesome. Awesome.
He does
I'm ready to blow it up.
He does kind of set the tone, doesn't he?
Just a bit. Oh, fun player.
that guy.
Fun player.
I also last night was sort of clenching my teeth, hoping that, in a weird way, hoping that Brad Marchand didn't score a big, meaningful goal in this game, because I did not want to have a reaction at the Garden that involved Garden Bruins fans booing Brad Marchand. I thought, he's going to be requesting the trade by this weekend if this happens.
Does he get booed?
And he had an opportunity in overtime.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And I was like,
yep.
oh,
yeah, here it is.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Does he get booed?
Yes. He would have been
Definitely.
booed. It would have been awkward as all hell.
Yeah, that's hard.
I was so concerned about it. I don't know why. I cared so much about that. But all night I'm like, Marchand, just stay away from this. Please. We don't need that. We don't need this awkward moment.
I was thinking,
But
I
I'll
was
tell
thinking
you
about
what.
it too. I was like, I would not be happy for him if this happened. I kind of hate him right now.
Would have been memorable. That's for sure.